Hello everyone! It has been 2 months since the release of this movie, so I think it's time for me to give my overall thoughts on Sonic Movie 2. I will be talking about huge spoilers for the movie, so if you haven't seen the film and want to go see it blind, click off this video. For this review, I wouldn't give a full summary of the film, I would just tell you guys what I like, what I didn't like, and some of the extra opinions. Without further ado, let's begin. To start off, Knuckles. I absolutely love Knuckles in this film, and Idris Elba kills the role. Probably my favorite incarnation of the character. He's socially awkward, and he's like a hybrid between MCU Drax and Thor, specifically pre-Ragnarok Thor. He's hilarious, and I genuinely laugh at his moments the most out of this film. But he's a serious powerhouse when he needs to be. Also, I love that Knuckles is written to be naive and gullible instead of stupid, which is something that Sega misunderstood about his character in recent games. I was so happy that Kalina Shaughnessy was able to reprise her role as Tails, and while he wasn't a major character on the same level as Knuckles, I really do love how this movie shows the brotherly bond between Sonic and Tails, which was great. Jim Carrey was amazing as always, and I like how even more twisted he was in this film than the first one, especially when he went super. I do love this universe lore behind the Chaos Emeralds. Fusing all 7 of them makes the Master Emerald, and that's interesting. It's unique and pretty cool. The cinematography in this film is gorgeous and filled with so many great shots. Seeing Super Sonic on the big screen and seeing him destroy the Death Egg Robot, or the Egg Robotnik, was so cool and awesome. I think that's it for the positives, so let's get into what I didn't really like about this movie. While I do think this movie has higher highs than the first Sonic film, I think Sonic 2 has lower lows than the first one, and I think the pacing was better than Sonic 1. Some scenes are detrimental to this movie's pacing. For example, the infamous Ready scene. While it was funny, it did stop the movie to a screeching halt for a side plot that doesn't really go anywhere. It ends where it started with Rachel and Randall rekindling their love for each other, so it's just pointless filler. Funny, but pointless. Honestly, I think the scene would have been much more well received amongst the community if it was either cut, or better yet, the true post-credit scene, like how some Marvel movies put the funny post-credit scene at the very end of the film. I just want to make it clear that I don't mind humans in these films, and I do like Tom and Maddie. It's just that going forward for future films, make sure to include them in ways where it helps and progress the story, instead of being major distractions from it. The soundtrack of this film is honestly very weak. Stardust in the Sky by Kid Cudi is a bop, but other than that, the music score is just generic Hollywood. There was one scene where Sonic was drowning, and the song that played over it slightly referenced the iconic drowning theme, which is criminal because one of the most iconic songs in video game history gets downplayed. It's sad because you think they would incorporate or translate Sonic's style of music for this movie. I'm not saying just plot the music from the games onto the films, but orchestrated remixes of some songs for specific scenes, like a remix of the boss theme from Sonic 3 for the Sonic vs. Knuckles fight, would have enhanced that fight. In the beginning of the film, when Eggman meets Knuckles, Knuckles had these soldiers and they weren't explained why they were there. It's explained in the prequel comic, but stuff like that shouldn't be in supplementary material. Finally, Shadow. I don't know, it honestly felt long since I believe it's too early for him. His story arc is so in-depth and deep where you have to introduce Gerald, Maria, Amy, Rouge, and Shadow himself to make the movie work. Which, if they do that, it would feel cluttered with all the new characters. Personally, I believe that Metal Sonic would have been a safer and better choice, since the Quiver Blotnik cat from Sonic would have been perfect to be written as Metal Sonic's power source. Also, Metal Sonic and Amy would be properly introduced and we wouldn't worry about the spotlight being hogged across multiple new characters because less is more, but that's just me. I love the backstory between the Echidna tribe and the Owls because it's nice to know that the Echidnas had rivals. I know Archie and Chronicles had their own rivals for the Echidnas, but that was a long time ago. Not to mention with one Echidna who used the power of the Master Room against the Owls. I was getting huge Interject vibes and I was geeking out at the theater. This is dark, but I am glad they kept Longclaw dead. It had been such a cop-out to be honest, and it gives her sacrifice more weight. Knuckles' dad was involved in trying to capture her in the first movie, and it's heavily implied that something else happened that resulted in her death. Maybe chaos. Maybe the Knuckles show will talk about that. I do wish that the fight between Sonic and Knuckles was a minute or two longer, but it was fun while it lasted. That's my thoughts on the second Sonic film. While I do think the first film had better pacing and had less lows than the sequel, I did enjoy the second movie much more. I would rate the movie a 7.5 out of 10. It's a solid, fun adventure movie for the kids, and to see people fall in love with the film, that's great. I just don't love the movie as much as others in the community, and the a-hole in me will say that I slightly prefer the OVA over it, but that's nostalgia bias. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Instead of playing tricky at the opening, they should have played it here at the dance scene. They could have a white chicks reference.